decision to wear a mask rests entirely with the individual. But when you're speaking, please remove your mask for those people whose hearing is not as good as possibly it might be. There's no fire alarm expected, so if the bell goes off, it's real. In the event of the alarm, please exit round by the brown rear door to assemble in front of the Friday house car parking first, so up there. Toilets are accessed via the rear door and beyond the stairwell on the right. Please ensure that mobile phones are either turned off or switched to silent mode. Attendees, please advise that this meeting is being recorded. So if anyone has a problem with that, let us know. We can position you where you can be seen. Any problems? Good. Right. First item of business. Members are asked to elect the chair of the council. Each nomination must be seconded. Do I have any nominations? Yes, Councillor.
May I nominate Councillor Doug Lawson to the position of Chair of the Council?
Yes. Do I have a seconder for that?
Yes.
Sorry?
Several.
Yes. Do I have any other nominations for Chair? Go. Right. Well, just to vote for show of hands, all in favour of Councillor Lawson? Right. Now, Councillor Lawson, you can have place Mr. Chair. Just have your seat and I shall go and relocate. Not from my ear, but then to look at it.
Before you go, Charlie, first of all, thank you everybody for voting for me, but also thank you, Charlie, for all of your service over the last couple of years. There's a badge for you there.
Thank you much. Thank you.
And can I present to you with your ceremonial medals and chains for your next term. Can we congratulate Mr. Lawson, please? For those of you that don't know, these were given to us from Eden District Council, and they are the old urban council. Yeah, quite special.
Those of you that are new, it might be worth having a look at it. Actually, it's got some interesting stamps around the little bits of the chain.
Management power.
Not that I'm aware of. Okay, so we're on item 2, which is appointment of the Vice Chair. Members are asked to vote for the appointment of Vice Chair of the Council. Do we have any nominations?
I nominate Councillor Mark Woodhall.
Okay, do we have a seconder? Okay, Councillor Bowe. Thank you. Are there any other nominations? Okay, show of hands then. All those in favour of Councillor Bowe? Thank you.
And could we pass Councillor Woodhall his medals for himself and his consort? And a round of applause, please. You need to take a seat on the top table as well. Thank you very much.
So item 3 is acceptance of office. Members are asked to note that the town clerk has now received completed declaration of acceptance office forms for each member, new and returning.
I apologise, Mr. Chair. We have not signed a declaration of office for yourselves and for Councillor Ruddle. Can we just go back and do that before we get to the agenda? So that's for Councillor Ruddle, that's for yourself.
Okay, so item 4 on your agendas is the general power of competence. We're asked to confirm by resolution. Members are asked to note that the town clerk is no, we have that. Members are asked to confirm that the council may continue to exercise the general power of competence as the council meets the eligibility criteria. I'd like to propose that the adoption of this power is continued. Could I have a second, please? Thank you, Councillor Jackson. All those in favour? Thank you. Carried. The next item is apologies.
No, apologies, full house.
Item number 6 is interests. Members are asked to note that they are required to submit their completed register of interests within 28 days of election. I haven't done mine yet, and I think it's probably another one that. So just get those in as quickly as you can. Item 7.
Next one.
Item 7 is a declaration of interest and request for dispensations for this evening's meeting. Members are asked to disclose their interests in matters to be discussed on the agenda. Do we have any?
I would like to.
Councillor Thompson.
The declaration of name badges on the floor. Declaration of interest to your legal properties, planning applications, a registrable interest as legal campaign professional campaign.
Councillor Thompson. Councillor Howard.
So, yeah, dispensation item number 18, Carlton Village Hall, and the ward member.
You don't need to.
I don't need to say that.
Declaration.
Okay.
That's fine. Councillor Snell.
I'd like to read this out, if it's okay, because I don't want to miss anything.
Okay.
So I want to be clear that as a member of the public, we can make statements of our choosing at a meeting. However, as a councillor, if appropriate, we must declare our interest and or predetermination and withdraw from the whole of the discussion and not vote for that item. I welcome the opportunity to clarify my input on planning matters at this meeting, especially as it is being filmed. It is important that the wider public are aware that if we run or join campaigns on particular issues, we are predetermined, i.e. biased, and cannot participate in the discussion of issues if it comes to the council as an agenda item. If we do participate in these circumstances, those involved in making our application can seek to have the discussion invalidated. I understand that there could even be a call for a judicial review. It must also be emphasised that we are constrained by material planning considerations. We can't refuse planning or oppose every planning application from a particular company just because we dislike a particular aspect of the business. Over the course of the election and before, I and others were the subject of abuse and the spreading of incorrect information. Councillors on planning will be able to confirm that I have been rigorous in considering planning applications, including Omega, and I have, on several occasions in particular, raised the issues of retrospective planning and have objected to any plan which there were material considerations to do so. I will continue to exercise this rigour, and I am thankful to have got the opportunity to clarify this matter. As part of my election campaign, it was stated, because I put out a leaflet with another member, a candidate, we have and will continue to do all within our power to challenge those with the responsibility to do much better. No community should have to accept environmental intrusions. We are currently working on establishing a multi-agency group with representation from residents to monitor and respond to issues on environmental nuisance. This is a wholly true and accurate statement, which I know others in attendance at this meeting are aware of.
Any others? Councillor Jones.
I'd like to make a declaration of interest with regard to the proteins as I'm councillor for Penrith.
I don't know if it's relevant, but I am actually a friend of the that's not being discussed today.
No, it's not.
Sorry, just in case we just.
Councillor Smith.
I'd like to make a declaration again on the same agenda item number 20, the application of the proteins, because I've got similar statements as Councillor Snell on my campaign.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I'll echo that, I put a comment in mine.
Anyone else? Anyone for anything?
Can I just raise, Greg, with the comments that the Libby's made underneath the proteins in their list of privilege?
No, I don't, this is just about registrable interests. I don't want to have a discussion about it now.
Thank you.
Is that covered everybody's registrable interests? Yes. So the next item is to for members to know that there are no items to be considered in private, so we don't need to have any part 2 business today. The next item after that is members are asked to approve the minutes of the last meeting of council and authorise me to sign the minutes of the full council minutes from the 27th of March 2023 and the year-end minutes for the planning committee Monday the 6th of March 2023 and Monday the 24th of April 2023 for the finance committee. Is everybody happy for me to sign that? Shall I show of hands? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next item, outside bodies. Are there any outside bodies that members would like to put forward as an outside body that are not on the list?
Got a long list in front of you. We think we've captured a fair number of them, some of which we have taken off because they're no longer meeting. But there have been some proposals for some new groups. I think Councillor Snell had a proposal for a new group.
Yes, it's been in existence for quite a long time. It's Health Watch Cumbria, and it's something that's about ensuring that the patient voice is heard and residents' voices are heard about health issues across the forum that I currently sit on. Covers Carlisle and Newton.
How frequently do they meet, please? Is it in person?
It can be hybrid.
Okay.
They meet once every 2 months.
So 5 months.
Yes. Sometimes they have joint ones with the West, but it's all of North Cumbria.
Any others?
I wonder if we might consider the Recovery College, which is a mental health peer support organisation, which is starting to get quite a lot of attention over in West Cumbria, and they now have activities at the Unibrick and I wanted to go, so they were quite active, and anybody can attend those meetings online. Being a peer support organisation, I would
Excellent.
Any others?
Rural Services Network. I stood on there. It mentioned somewhere in the minutes, notes, I can't remember where it was, about we had a free trial for 1 year.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that shortly, but did you want to carry on?
I will, yes.
Okay, we'll go on to that in a moment.
Because I've got a meeting on Wednesday.
Not wanting to preempt that, but
No, I can make it back out.
Can I also check if the Salvation Army seems also in terms of other work they do outside of the kind of
yeah, we don't generally have representation on church or sort of secular type of organisations, but we have a close working relationship.
Can we add cold spirits?
Oh, that's a good one.
I just ask a quick question?
Yeah.
On outside bodies, can we later on put this as sort of
Oh yeah, yeah.
once a month or whatever, 2 months or
Yes.
something? Nominate
Yes.
the director?
Absolutely.
The A66.
Yeah, that's on, we're just looking, that should be
Sorry?
on your,
Yeah.
yeah, it should.
Oh, sorry, it's too far, fell off part of the top, I didn't.
Yeah.
I'm
Are
looking at
members
that.
happy then to add to our list Health Watch, Cumbria, Recovery College and Cold Spring Steering Group? Are those members who suggested those, if they can talk to me about representation and how we contact the groups during this week, that would be helpful. Do we want to?
Do we need nominations for the other groups?
And we'll need nominations for those three as well. And the Rural Services Network, which councillor Fergus suggested. Yeah, that's the next job to do.
All right.
Okay.
So I apologise in advance, this is quite a long list. We need to nominate 2 members for the 106 partnership. Does anybody have any nominations?
So this is community bus transport. It's about ensuring that communities that are rural have access to Penrith and other towns. We fund their services pretty much every year. It's a useful group to be part of. If no member wants to remember on it, I'm happy to put myself forward. Councillor Bergen?
Yes, I am a regular bus user, as most people will know, and the 106 does have to go through Emon Bridge.
Yeah.
Which is split itself in half, because it's on the right-hand side going out. But
Yeah.
if anybody, if anybody's required,
Thank you, Councillor Bergen.
stand as well.
Thank you, Councillor Jamie.
So that goes to 2 members for the one.
Yeah.
The A66 Community Liaison Group meets quarterly, we need 2 members as well.
What is that?
They've got a big job, they're going to do all the A66 and Penrith, what's going on, going to involve a lot of work with the big company bank, roundabout, and I have been dealing with A66.
Are you nominating yourself?
Yes.
Councillor Shepherd's been on it previously. We do expect that the frequency of meetings might increase when the work comes closer to its due date. So just be mindful that there might be more frequent meetings.
I believe we will end up with a link between the contractor, how we think of, and trying to explain why it's as it is.
So I'm happy for just one member if nobody else would like to put themselves forward, or perhaps one member and a sub.
Do we need one? Do we need to, really? If it's
Well,
going to be a big job.
Just for consistency, yeah. Thank you.
I appreciate having someone, but maybe transline can't go.
Is that West London Furnace Council?
Yeah.
West London Furnace Council Association of Local Councils.
It was Eden Association of Local Councils, but I'm assuming they're going to have another group. I'm not quite sure what they're going to do. I think they are splitting it over the 2 new unitaries. So they meet quarterly, bi-monthly, to what's going on. It's generally hybrid, and it's an opportunity to network with other councils in the area. And generally they're themed meetings that, so for example, we might have representatives from Westmoreland, from St End, and we might talk about highways on that meeting, we might talk about traffic calming. It's a great opportunity to network, meet other clerks, meet other councillors. Councillor Snell's been on it, and we can basically, it's open to any councillors, we can have more than one. Yeah, lovely. Anybody else? Okay.
You're more than one.
Yeah, it's actually open to any councillor, but it'd be nice to have a full representation. Thank you.
The next one is Eden Health and Wellbeing Forum.
Councillor Snell was our past rep.
Yes.
It's still on it. Do you want to continue to?
I need to, because I'm actually involved in some working groups that have come out of that, so it would be really helpful if I could.
I think it would be perfect.
Local Cycling and Walking Infrastructure Plan, Elsie Whittle.
I'd like to do that, please. Thank you. Yes. I'm not sure of the frequency of that, or whether there doesn't work very recently, but we'll keep you posted.
Parking and Movement Study, PTNS.
Oh, Well, we have, yeah, we've got some subs for that. That,
None?
right. Yeah, got those.
Who have you got, sorry?
I've got Councillor Holden, Councillor Jackson and Councillor Shepherd.
Okay. Borderlands.
Hands going up again. Oh. Well, we could have 3 in a sub. People that work for Borderlands, you think, Ross? Yeah, that'd be useful. Can you put your hands up higher, please?
We do need at least one person who's been on it, don't we? So we've
Yeah.
got 2 there.
There's only one left that's on it. So we've got 3. Thank you very much, members.
Okay. Pact, Penrith Action for Community Transition.
And I attend anyway, so should we leave it at that? You're happy to leave it at that?
What is it?
Ron, can you describe Pact to
Very briefly.
Dan?
No.
Less than 5 minutes.
Trans to sustainable future.
So green.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Penrith Refugee Network.
I'm sorry. Oh, yes.
Hillary's been hosting.
I am on the steering group.
We have, would it be okay to have more than one person?
Yes.
Queuing up. Val, what do you?
I was going to put myself forward for Perth, but you've got enough, so that's
Are you sure?
Yes, that's fine. No, it's fine.
Thank you very much.
Rural Market Town Group members.
So that Council Lady has got a meeting about the old Wednesday.
Is that the same thing?
Yeah.
Rural services.
Yeah, that's it.
Ah.
Yeah.
I thought it went. It refers to them.
Yeah, okay.
So,
So it's yourself and Councillor Donald.
Okay. Town Working Group. We've already got Deputy Town Clerk and the Economic Development Officer on that one, but we do need a member as well.
No.
We don't.
No, you come in the next one. So that's members depending on the purposes of the group.
Yeah, Town Working Group, subgroups, officers and members depending on the
Yeah.
purpose of the group.
So we'll do that as and when required, is that okay?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Zero Carbon Cumbria Partnership, the Town Clerk is a member of that.
Yeah, Councillor Jameson says special interest.
Okay. We're going to have to work out a way to do that.
That's how split. Devolution sorted.
Right, devolution is sorted, that's it, that's that one.
Or hang what these new 3 ones, these 3 new ones.
Okay,
So Health Watch Cumbria, Councillor Snell, are you happy to represent the council on that?
Yes.
If you can send me some details so I can contact them. Cold Spring Steering Group. And Recovery College, Councillor Donald, are you engaged? That's grand. Thank you, members.
And also, as a problem in the constituency.
Yes, for those members that don't know, or normally at a town council meeting, we give you an opportunity to provide an update. So when you attend those meetings, you can use it or what you see me do when I go on one, I'll do a very brief bullet point notes of what was discussed and send it out to everybody so that there's copies of the communication to
Before we move on to item 11, just quickly on the Cold Springs one, Cumbria Wildlife Trust, who are working on the Cold Springs project, are very keen to get public participation. And as we have a number of people from Carlton here this evening, if any of you are interested, give me a shout and I can send you the details.
Thank you.
Okay?
So we can go as members of the public?
Yes,
We
absolutely.
don't have to be.
Yeah. No, they're eager to get as many people in as possible.
Okay.
So item 11 is committees. We're looking for volunteers from members for each of the committees. Finance is for a 4-year term. Communities is for 12 months and planning is for 12 months. So if we start with finance, what are we looking for? Just to show hands.
6 members to volunteer, at least 6 to volunteer.
And what we
And this is finance.
Thank you.
Is that 7 full members or 6 members?
That's 7.
Good. Thank you.
Minimum 6.
No, it's up to 6 actually. It didn't change the terms of reference. That has been discussed, so we'll put it at 7 for now, and we'll deal with the variance at your first committee meeting.
Okay. Okay, communities is a 12-month term. Show of hands, people interested in that?
I'll start right here.
Describe again what's next.
Well, I've got the terms of reference on the desk that will give you an overview. One with the blue box. If you flip it over, it'll tell you where what it's about.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Communities.
Yes.
Hands up, please. Nice and cool. 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 6, Mr. Chair.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
And that leads us to planning, which is for a term of 12 months.
Oh, what we like to see.
See what happens. I can't see it, that's all right.
Sorry.
I was going to say I'm going to lift it for you.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. Thank you, members. Yeah.
So item 13, we need to elect committee chairs for planning, finance and communities.
No, it's we need subs.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry. Thank you, pardon. Item 12, we need to have substitute members for the finance and communities and planning.
So anybody out that hasn't put themselves forward for finance, that's in the instance where perhaps somebody's gone poorly or gone on holiday, it's all a bit short notice. Can you just pop in, just sit through the meeting, have this, make our decisions in a lawful way and ensuring we're quorate. Doesn't mean you have to be an expert because we'll help them bring you through the decision making process. We'll start with finance, please, Mr. Chair.
So anybody volunteering as a councillor Doyle? How many do we need? Just one of each?
2 of each, please.
Anybody else for that?
Thank you.
Communities.
Yeah, and I'll put you both down. We just don't know what happens if people apply. Planning. Any subs for planning? Thank you. Very much, Mr. Chair.
Right, now we need to elect chairs. So, starting with the finance committee, do we have any nominees for chair of finance?
Just a reminder that Councillor Jackson, Councillor Shepherd, Councillor Jason, Councillor Ruddle, Councillor Lawson, Councillor Kenyon and Councillor Bergen. So that's clear.
I would like to nominate myself.
I'll nominate Councillor Shepherd.
Yeah, I'll nominate you as well.
I second it, so I have.
Anybody else fancy finance chair?
Nominate Councillor Kenyon.
Councillor Kenyon.
You got a vote, so
Well,
all
we
those
need
in
a second.
favour.
Right, okay.
I'll second Councillor Kenyon, so we have.
We'll do it. We'll do it
Yes.
alphabetically. Are there any others before we go to a vote?
This is finance.
This is for finance, the chair of finance. Okay, we'll do it alphabetically. All those in favour of Councillor Kenyon, please put your hands up. Okay, and all those in favour of Councillor Shepherd? Okay, Councillor Shepherd's one that way. Sorry, Ron. Right, so the next one is communities. Who do we have on the list of communities?
Councillor Donald, Councillor Jackson, Snell, Owen, Kenya, and Jason.
I propose Councillor Snow.
All those in favour of Councillor Snell? Oh, actually,
Sorry.
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 Any other nominations?
It looked like a.
No other nominations. All those in favour of Councillor Snell?
Thank you.
Thank you. And lastly, planning. I would like to nominate Councillor Jackson for planning.
I will second Councillor Jackson. Sorry.
Are there any other nominations?
Can I nominate myself?
Yes, of course you can.
Nominate myself.
Okay.
Vote.
Okay.
Seconders, yeah, we've got seconders. Yeah.
Okay, so we have a vote. So we'll start with Councillor Holt. All those in favour? Councillor Holt for chair of planning.
Vote for yourself, Ted.
Yeah. You can vote for yourself.
Right,
Yeah,
All those in favour of Councillor Jackson?
members.
Thank you.
Thank you for volunteering.
Sorry, can I just clarify, at the first committee meeting, we actually vote the deputy?
Correct.
Is that correct?
Within the committee, only the committee members vote for the deputy.
Yes, yes, but that's when we need to get the deputy.
I promise that.
The next item is meetings. I'd like to propose the dates of the meetings for the calendar year with the one proviso that the date for the January meeting is corrected to the 29th. It is on my sheet, but it's not on yours. I think it says the 27th.
It does, it has been corrected.
Yeah, so it's the 24th, that's the preset meeting. 24th?
29th.
Sorry, the 29th.
I was happy to accept that.
Are you all happy to accept those dates?
Mr. Chair, I may offer a point of information that committees can, in their own groups, change a time if necessary.
That'll be the first item on Tuesday.
So just a quick show of hands then, all those in favour of those dates and times? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, item 15, you're asked to note that the review of policies, procedures and terms of reference has been completed and that there are 2 policies for members' considerations. One of which is a motion from myself, which is to change or an amendment to Standing Order E3E to include a requirement for the public to submit written questions and statements in advance of council meetings and a process for handling follow-up questions. The proposed amendment would allow council and officers time to consider and provide a measured response that may not be forthcoming if the question is a surprise and is vocalised live during the meeting. The process encourages the questioners to think carefully about what they want to ask, and they'll receive a diligent response to a question of importance to them. That's the fancy wording. Just briefly to explain what I'm looking for, I'm hopeful that if people have time to, if we as councillors and officers have time to think about the questions and come up with an answer, it might be a slightly more sensible and more useful answer than if we're kind of dealing with it on the night without any prior warning. And I think similarly it works from the other way around as well, because it allows the person asking the question time to sit down and think about what it is they want to ask, because they've got to submit it in advance, so that again they're not kind of thinking their feet in the meeting. I hope that makes sense. Could I have a seconder for the change? Thank you, Councillor Shepherd. And then we've got time to talk about it if anybody's got anything they'd like to say or any questions.
Yeah, I've got a question. Are we not putting yet another roadblock up for people to actually ask questions? Wouldn't a better approach to this be, if the question's a surprise and you don't know what the answer is, to say, we'll get back to you at the next meeting? Take note of it. I'm just trying to sort of help communication. For somebody to sit down and write something is another hurdle.
Yeah, I understand what you mean, but I think it actually makes us much more able to answer the questions appropriately, because there often is an occasion where we have to take it away and have a look at it, so it means the person, the member of the public, then has to wait for their answer or get it sent out. I mean, it doesn't have to be an in-depth, it just has to be a quick question about what they want answered, and then whether it be the councillors or whether it be the officers can actually come to the meeting where they're raising it with all the issues covered.
Councillor Jackson?
Yes, I would say that there's a need for a topicality in a question. If it's a question that needs to be at that meeting, I do appreciate the point that a response could be provided later, but some things do need to be done in that meeting. It does need to have a sense of time and be relevant to surrounding events and such like. So having it there and then is often very useful. I think we do need to make it sort of gotcha moments and things like that, but the sense that it has to be a requirement would, by the wording, it sounds like it would stop any questions other than the ones that were already submitted. So I would suggest, if I may offer an amendment, that the wording be changed to it would be considered helpful, and it would be a request of the council that if the public has questions, they would submit them prior.
Just give me a minute to look at the motion before we go. We've got a proposed amendment now, members. Just look to see where that would fit. Just give me a second. That's what I do. Yeah. Okay, members, if you can look at page 43, and if you, because you proposed an amendment, Councillor Jackson, if you particularly have a look at 43, page E2, I suggest your wording would fit in there, your proposed amendment. Have a read, I'll give you a minute to read that and see if you're content.
Page 43.
Just want to read the reference number.
E2.
E2. Oh yes. Thank you.
So we're going to change the wording so it would say it'd be preferable to have the question in writing rather than it must be in writing. Do we have a second for that?
Just making sure it's worded, look at his wording right first. Try to put you on the spotlight.
I understand.
Number 2 deletes number 1.
It is preferable.
It's one as well.
Yeah, it's
One, there's a last sentence in one. Yeah, so it's 1 and 2 to insert preferable. It is preferable that a member of the public make a request in writing to the town clerk prior to the meeting.
The question should be asked with appropriate notice,
Right, it is.
having been delivered in writing.
Yeah. So, members, I'm just going to read this out. E1, members of the public may make representations, ask questions, and give evidence to a meeting which they are entitled to attend in respect of the business on the agenda. It is preferable that a member of the public make a request in writing to the town clerk prior to the meeting. Are you happy with that, Councillor Jackson?
And maybe a tag to facilitate a stronger and more comprehensive response being available.
To facilitate a full response
Yes.
to the questioner. Okay. And then E2,
I think a question should only be asked.
a question should,
Therefore,
crossing out may, should,
providing more emphasis on preferable.
question should
makes it
only be
seem
asked if
more-
notice is being given by the public.
I don't want to say strongly preferable, but I do want to say should.
Okay. Do you want me to read out again, members, what the amendment is before you decide to, if you're going to second it? Is that intent? Okay.
Are you going to add in that questions asked on the time may not get an answer?
Anyway, yes, a
Yeah,
question,
yes.
questions submitted on the night may not, it may not be suitable for questions submitted on the night to receive a full answer. In such cases, a written response will be provided in due course after the meeting.
Yes.
Yes. It may not be possible.
Yes. Yes.
Is that what you said?
Yeah.
I thought we got that in this.
Maybe they're already, but
I didn't see that already.
X1.
Yes, any question which cannot be dealt with during public.
Yeah.
okay, fine.
Yeah.
Sorry, I should have read it through properly.
No such lecture.
Okay. Right, I'm going to read it back to you. E1, members of the public may make representations, ask questions and give evidence at a meeting which they are entitled to attend in respect of the business on the agenda. It is preferable that a member of the public make a request in writing to the town clerk prior to the meeting to facilitate a full response to the questioner. A question should only be asked if notice has been given. Content?
Yes.
Right, I need a second for that then. Okay, so we're now debating that amendment. That is the substantive motion.
Any comments?
Any comments?
Councillor Kenyon?
Just, will the time, how far before a meeting should this?
It's within there already.
Midday or something.
Before midday on the day of the meeting.
Oh, yes, yes.
We're not totally into it, but we've got Councillor Dennell's validation.
I'm not sure this really references the first motion, although it's still relevant to this, that somehow, despite the advantage of having the question in advance, I think there's something lost in terms of the feeling of democracy potentially from the public. And that's what my first thoughts were. And it's starting to get a little bit complicated. That in a time when we're all possibly more suspicious about what's going on behind the scenes, to be told not to be able to do something that seems to have been a long-standing ability seems. I was my gut instinct at the start, and now I'm more forward really, even despite the amendment, the substantive. So
just to offer a flip side to that, the thought that occurs to me is that if every question is asked at the time, and we spend a lot of time saying to people, your answer will come later, those answers are going to come from the officers and they're not going to come from the discussion amongst the members, which could devalue the answer theoretically, although the officers are fantastic.
We don't allow any of the business that you pointed that out on Saturday morning. And to my mind, having a question arrive unseen, as it were, is a form of any other business.
Councillor Snell? Sorry, Councillor Holden. Can you two turn your things around? I keep jumping your nose up in my
I seem to remember that Councillor Jackson was saying that if a question was asked at the meeting, it didn't go in prior to that, that the proviso would be, they would not probably be able to have a full explanation, a full answer, and it would be followed in writing. Have we got that anywhere here?
Yes.
Any questions? X12.
It's where?
Item 6, next.
Oh, it
subsection
can't be
12.
done. Yes, but this is all suggesting it's a question that's come in earlier and not actually at the meeting,
That's all questions. Any questions?
which cannot be dealt with. But we're all right. So we're saying they should and should try if it's preferable. So therefore, reading between the lines, you could ask the question at the meeting without further Anne's warning.
In the interest of democracy, that would be the case.
Yes.
Okay.
Say, we will not get an answer. I will not get an answer.
Members, can I just talk to the chair, please?
Might need the answer on one that's actually been beforehand.
So we need a second. Do we need a second?
You seconded it.
We've got a second.
It's debate closed.
Has anybody else got anything to say that hasn't spoken yet? No? Okay. So all those in favour of the amended motion? That's great. So now we have to actually vote on it as substantive motion.
Yeah.
Yeah. All those in favour of the motion, now it's become a motion. Sorry. Thank you. There we go. That's carried out. Right. Where are we at?
Unworking policy, Chair. Yep.
Okay, so the home working policy. Members are asked to consider the home working policy, which is new and supports the council's flexible working policy. I'd like to propose the policy. Do I have a second, please?
I'm happy to answer any questions, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Are there any questions?
Any questions?
Clark?
Councillor Holden?
Yeah, I just want clarification. It says on page 66, as agreed with council, anything about this flexible working, as agreed with council. Is that officers of the council? It's not members of the council, is it?
It's just officers of the council who have applied formally for flexible working at home.
To yourself?
To myself, yes. And I, for example, I've approved it. And it might be that, for example, they only have access to a vehicle 2 days a week, or it might be that they're studying for a degree or something of that nature. That means that working from home would be beneficial for them and for the organisation. And thus it's a routine change to their working pattern. We do work, as you know, ad hoc from home, but this is a routine change, which would mean we'd have to change their contract. And prior to permitting anybody to work from home, we need to make sure that they have systems in place at home to enable them to work safely and without being disturbed. But also from our perspective, we need to make sure that there's an agreement in place.
Right, I just want a clarification of who approved what, but obviously it's with it.
If I applied for it, council would approve me. If any of my colleague officers apply for it, I would
You
approve
would,
it.
thank you, right, thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
No, I just have one. So, I mean, IT security, all that stuff that's already in place.
Yes.
So it's just a vote, show of hands, all those in favour?
Members?
Thank you. Item 16 is membership to national organisations. Members are asked to note that we are continuing subscriptions we have a number of continuing subscriptions, and the council has also received 12 months free membership of the Rural Services Network and Rural Market Town Group. You are asked to accept the recommendation to renew membership for the Rural Market Town Group for the term of the council at the subscription rate of £121.82p for 23-24, noting that this may change for each membership year. I'd like to propose the subscription, so I'm a seconder. Thank you, Councillor Jackson. Did you have a question, Councillor Bennett?
I did indeed, yeah. Looking at 16B, it does suggest that the Rural Services Network and the Rural Market Town Group are different organisations.
So, Rural Services Network is the parent body,
Right.
and the Town Market Group is a subgroup of it. So they are the accountable body. So they have lots and lots of different bodies underneath the Rural Services Network, but they are the main organisation. So I'm a member, I'm an officer member for the Rural Town Market Group, and you are a member. And occasionally we do meet at meetings, but mostly it's officers and councils part, but they are the organising body for whom we pay the subscription.
And it's only the Rural Services Network that's free.
No, none of it's free.
It was only free for 1 year. Right.
That's
that
correct.
Yeah, that's the deal.
Yeah, that's all right.
Right.
So it's all falls within the £121.82.
Yeah. Yes, it does. That's a joke.
Councillor Jackson.
Yeah, just speaking as a second motion, I'd like to say that I think the Town Council, as an organisation of this size, has a responsibility in such groups, bringing expertise and different points of view, and that with it being rural market towns, a lot of them don't quite have the same level of expertise available to them. I think anything that we can do to help keep that group afloat, viable, and dynamic and prosperous is a good thing.
I think from my perspective, their research into fair funding, rural versus urban, has been astonishing, and it clearly identifies the disparity between rural and town centres, and the fact that we really are hard to find.
And so to conclude my point, that we're probably going to get far more back out of this sort of relationship than we have put in place.
Indeed.
Any other questions or comments? So, we need a vote then. Okay, all those in favour of subscriptions? Item 17, matters from the Finance Committee. The first item, item A, is a joint panel on governance and accountability practitioners guide from March 2023. Members are asked to ratify the adoption of the joint panel on governance and accountability practitioners guide March 2023. We're not going to ask you all to say the name of the thing that you're voting for. This is quite a mouthful. I'd like to propose the adoption of the guide. Do we have a second there, please? those in favour? Thank you. Item B, fixed asset register, 31st of March 2023. Members asked to note that you are asked to ratify the fixed asset register and the reconciliation of transactions. I'd like to propose the approval of the asset register on the 31st of March and the reconciliation of transactions 22-23. Are you seconding?
No, I'd like to say something, please.
Okay. Do I have a second? Get into the vote. Thank you. Okay, Councillor Bowden.
Thank you. Just to ask, let me just find the right page. Page 104. Just a request, please, that every time you refer to Thatterbeck, we call it Thatterbeck Field, because there are two other bits of land called Thatterbeck in the town, and it leads to confusion. So it sounds as if we're talking about the beck itself, if it's just says Thatterbeck and not. So we can have that info, please. Page 104 it is. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, noted. Any other questions, comments? Okay. All those in favour of the asset register being approved? Item C, financial outturn report, year ending 31st of March 2023. Members are asked to ratify the final outturn report for the financial year ending 31st of March 2023. I'd like to propose this. Do I have a second there? Thank you. Any questions, comments? All those in favour? Thank you. Item D is the internal audit. Members are asked to ratify the internal audit final report. I'd like to propose that we ratify this report. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Jackson. Any questions or comments about the internal report?
Just as an annual thing, thank the officers again for all their hard work that goes into getting clean audits.
Any other questions? All those in favour? Thank you. Item E, effectiveness of internal audit provision for 22-23 and reappointment of the internal auditor. Members are asked to ratify the review of effectiveness of internal audit provision. I'd like to propose that we do that. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Donald. Any questions or comments about the reappointment of the internal auditor?
Is there any reason, sorry, Chair, is
Do
there
the
any,
effectiveness of internal control first. Then it's internal.
Oh, right, sorry, yeah. So, yeah, sorry, effectiveness of internal audit provision is what we're ratifying first. So, any questions about that? What are your questions about that? Okay, so all those in favour of ratifying the review? Thank you. Right, so the second one is to ratify the reappointment of G. Airy as the internal auditor for 23-24. I'd like to propose the reappointment of G. Airy. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Jackson. Any comments on this one? Councillor Jackson.
yeah, I was just wondering, is this cost, has anybody looked at the cost of this, see if it's something less, or is it not worth it?
Our internal auditor has been picked because of her years' experience as a town clerk, RFO and trainer with the Association of Councils. She's also got a large number of other councils that she audits. So it's quite difficult to go from ordinary accountant to ordinary auditor that has a specific sector experience and qualifications. At some point in time, I do expect Mrs. Airy to retire, which might be a bit of a problem for a lot of councils in Cumbria. But part of the review of the internal controls is to identify that she's appropriately experienced, but from a cost perspective, our rates are very reasonable.
And what does it cost?
The cost for the interim internal following the year, that's £500.
Any other questions or comments on that one? So we're voting to ratify the reappointment of G. Airy as the internal auditor. All those in favour? And finally, on this item, the annual governance and accountability return. Annual Governance Statements 2020-23, Section 1 of the Annual Governance and Accountability Return. The Town Council must conduct an annual review of the effectiveness of the system of internal control prior to the completion of the Annual Governance Statement, and a full review was carried out by the Finance Committee on the 20th of March 2023, which was duly ratified by the Council on the 27th of March 2023. The review confirmed the Council's system of internal audits were effective, and the review of effectiveness of internal audit provides further support for that assessment. So, members are asked to approve the Annual Governance Statement for 2022-23. I'd like to propose that we approve
Like
that.
firstly on papers?
Yes.
Do I have a second then? Thank you, Councillor Shepherd. Any questions or comments? Okay, all those in favour? Thank you.
Can you sign this, Mr. Chair, before we move on? You sign there. That's it. I just have to sign as well.
Members are asked to authorise the Chair of the Council and the Town Clerk to sign the statement.
We've done it.
Which we've just done, so hopefully
So
you're okay with
efficient.
that.
Can I do that amendment? We don't talk for it. Sorry.
Right, then section 2, accounting statements, annual governance and accountability return 2022-23. Members are asked to approve the accounting statements. I'd like to propose that we approve the accounting statements 2022. Do I have a second? Thank you, Charlie Shepherd. So, is that the one to sign?
Yes, please. Any comments?
Any comments or questions?
So stand the new chair signing it off me.
18.
Michael Pheasant.
Oh, apologies. Yeah, got that one and that one.
Okay, so number 3 is notice of public rights and publication of unaudited annual governance and accountability return. Members are asked to note that the notice for the unaudited AGAR, that's the Annual Governance and Accountability Return, would be published on the Council's website and notice board from Sunday the 4th of June 2023 to Friday the 14th of July 2023. Has everybody noted that?
Noted.
Payments for approval. Members are asked to identify, so that's supposed to be 2. 2 members for the new Finance Committee to undertake the payments for approval reconciliation for the meeting of the Finance Committee on the 26th of June. So I'm asking for volunteers for the new committee. Thank you, Councillor Belegger. Councillor
It's April, May.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, are we proposing to do the same system that's always been done? One person does 2 while one does 1 and then it's sort of
No, it's lapsed.
We'll discuss it at your first
Talk about
meeting.
it at the Finance Committee.
In our own words.
Right, okay, that moves us on to item 18, which is the Carlton Village Hall. Members are asked to consider the report and recommendations contained within. I'd like to propose the report. Will I have a seconder? Councillor Jackson. Any questions or comments about the report?
Clarification, Chair. What we're looking to do is to do a business case, not saying we're going to take on.
Agreed. We're expressing an interest. So it starts the conversation. Business case, and it'll be a very draft one in a time to advance. And as you see within the recommendations, talking to colleagues of Westmoreland and Furness, because they perhaps need to know that this has been offered to us. It might have been lost in the process of devolution. So in all fairness, we need to make sure that they're aware of that. And at the moment, it's just opening the discussion.
This, I'm not going to misunderstand, so there's an old 106 agreement with the district council who had the right to buy it first. So presumably WWF have the right to buy it.
It's not a buy, it's a transfer.
Transfer to account.
Yeah. Oh, we'll call it an asset transfer.
Okay, fine, sorry, yes, thank you.
Yes.
Any questions, Councillor Jackson?
Just comment. I think I'm going to say that bang on about devolution for long enough, because I think that's an appropriate way to categorise it. And it's very important, to my mind, that the town council provides spaces in the town for satellite services, for community groups, for all manner of activity conducted by residents and organisations. And I think this is a step in the right direction. The town council having a strong presence in the town and in the wider suburban area of the town, and we then have the opportunity to go out to people rather than them just coming to us, and I'm very excited about the prospect.
Councillor Bergen.
Yes, thank you. It's possibly a bit too early in the process to be asking, but I'm not altogether sure about the ongoing management if the scheme goes ahead in the way that the council will be represented once the whole project's gone ahead. I didn't know if that's I know it's 2.8, it's mentioned there about owning and managing the building, owning and managing and supporting a group of residents. I don't know whether it would be a similar case to the allotment society or whether it would.
It would very much depend on the business case, I would argue, and I think it would also very much depend on our successes in establishing it. Having worked, managed resources for parish councils where I live as a volunteer, you want to take on something that's established, resourced, and is running smoothly. I think it would be unfair to any volunteers to get them involved from day one. Equally, you've got limited resources as a town council as well, so that will be all put into the options and risk analysis around it within the business case. But it is fair to say that a lot of village halls are either run by parishes or run by volunteers, or a combination of them, both. Often when you see village halls that have been run by voluntary groups, they have been done so for decades and decades and decades. And they always struggle to get volunteers, they always struggle to get new committee members. So a bit like Penrith Allotment Association, we would have a very much a collaborative relationship with any management, with your friends of the village hall that would take it on, so that we're always able to step in. But as you rightly say, we're a long way from deciding how it will operate. There's a lot of other things to think about before we even get to that.
Councillor Holden.
Yeah, 2.6 and then going on to item 6 about climate change. It says that a design spec as it stands cannot include climate change mitigation. Officers of the council have authority to negotiate changes to the drawings and consider enhancements after completion. Is that after it's built?
We don't even know.
You don't know?
We don't know if that's the definitive design that we've been given. We don't know if there's any scope for negotiation on improving the design prior to its build. But my experiences with developers is that they will have limited resources themselves, so it will be part of the negotiation process.
So on page 136, number 6, council should seek to build a hall with the environment and sustainability as a priority. So it's a bit chicken and egg really. I mean, the person's going to presumably got their idea how the hall's going to be built. Town council or anybody else has got their ideas how we're going to have a sort of suitable climate change, environmentally friendly building to be built. How do they do two mesh together?
You get as far as you can with the negotiation process, and then with the expertise that we've got around the table on negotiation, I think we'll probably have a strong case. But if we were able to get all of the climate change mitigation that we wanted to, but it was still important to the community to have the hall, that will be up to council to decide if we proceed. And we can always retrofit, and there are lots of grants available to village halls to retrofit.
Retrofitting is obviously more expensive than doing it right.
But there's grants available for village halls to be able to do that. But our preference, as with any developer, would be to do it before the build starts.
Well, I was just going to say, I really like the idea of satellite services. It's really good. I just wondered, is there like a known feeling on the ground from the residents and the locals about it?
Those that I've spoken to, all seem very excited about it. There's a lot of change on the internet.
Yeah, I've had to say.
Councillor Snell? Hello, Councillor
Yeah,
Bowen?
yes, I do want to speak.
Losing track, sorry.
Yeah, I'm losing
Go on, you
track.
go first then.
Yeah, I think it is very exciting thing. I just wanted to make sure that the people who have developed these plans, I take it that they have to go jump through the hoops of all the national agreements around accessibility, but also the limited, the minimum size for kitchens and all that sort of thing. They have done that?
You'd hope so.
Right, okay.
Councillor Bowe.
I was going to say the same as Councillor Snell. Looking at the plans, it does not look as if all the rooms are accessible. There is an accessible lavatory, but the changing rooms don't look accessible, nor the kitchen, nor the office, and I'm anxious that there is a threshold. It looks a bit,
I can assure officers, I can assure you that officers have identified those similar issues and many more besides, and we would discuss that with the developers.
Yeah, just a thought. I'm not even sure whether this is a discussion or not. But would council consider doing something like, if we could get a solar panel installation company to install solar panels for free, and they could back up a big sign outside saying install blah, 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 blah.
Absolutely.
Isn't it?
Get sponsorship,
Yeah.
not a problem.
So we're open to that.
I believe we would be able to.
Any other questions?
I've just got another point. I, having been responsible for actually managing the new community centre build, I think it's vital that we do involve local people right from the start and get them to, I don't know what work has already been has happened.
One of the reasons the audience for public participation is swelled is that we're already in discussions with some local residents who have offered to help the task and finish group. So those conversations are already starting, and I agree with you, it's their hall, they need to have some involvement. So,
and need to be clear about what their boundaries are in terms of financial and the roles that people can take within it. And we've got the expertise to be able to support that.
It's essential that they have that.
Yeah, it's going to say you mentioned before those schemes without nearby. Sort of ways putting back for different directions, but put together.
And that's certainly a scope for some shared project work.
Anyone else? So I'm proposing, I'll read the recommendations out.
I just do want to.
Yeah. Council formally expresses an interest, subject to contract and agreement of terms without prejudice and accepting the ownership of the hall. That the services and contract manager, town clerk and solicitor have delegated authority to negotiate with permission on the proposed terms of any purchase, and Westmoreland and Furness Council on its position in relation to the acquisition of the village hall planning matters. The council agreed the terms and approved the business case when completed. That the essential terms on cost and principles agreed provide authority to the town clerk to complete the transfer if the terms, cost and business case are favourable. That expenditure to support the acquisition be funded by reserves to the value of £25,000, and that council approve the establishment of a budget for the Carlton Village Hall that will sit with the Finance Committee. The officers have authority to negotiate changes and enhancements to the design for climate change mitigation. A task and finish group be established to assist the successful transfer of the hall and engage with the residents and develop a business case. The membership will include the council chair, the vice chair, Carlton ward members, there's an overlap there, councillors Holden and myself, and officers. And that the services and contracts manager and community services officer develop a business case with an options analysis to go forward to the next scheduled meeting. Do I have a second? Councillor Jackson.
Just one point of clarity, Mr. Chair, so it's right when it's voted on. Is that the autocorrect error should be persimmon rather than permission?
Probably.
Oh yeah, good point, I didn't spot that.
Yes, it will.
Yes, good person. Yeah.
I still second.
That makes sense.
I recommend intervening to take them to the board for last comments about accessibility. Of course, you change that.
You know that.
Yeah, that's it. Obviously declaring interest. Fully declaring interest now. Members, please.
Yeah, I'm just like to declare an interest that my son has just exchanged a property in Colton Heights. So I will be voting.
Thank you, Councillor Whittle.
With that in mind, I think we've had our discussion, so all those in favour? Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, planning applications.
Last year, I put the night there, oh, sorry, jump one. Sorry, apologies.
So item 19, asset of community value. Members are asked to consider the letter dated the 25th of April 2023 from West London Furnace Council's Assistant Director of Legal and Democratic Services, Councillor Bergen. We've had a letter from the Furnace Council's Assistant Director of Legal and Democratic Services seeking the Council's opinion on the registration of the agricultural hotel as an asset of community value. I'd like to propose the matter. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Shepherd. Does anybody have any comments to make about the agricultural hotel or its registration as community asset?
An iconic part of the town has been. It's a link back to the time when the market used to be in town. There's a distinguished building that has a lot of history. I think probably a lot of town farmers can tell you a lot of stories about it.
Councillor Snell?
I've got a question, but for me it sounds like a really good idea because we don't want to lose yet another asset, particularly one that a lot of people use. And taking on board what you said, the links to the market, it's still got everything inside. This, having it as an asset of community value, will enable local people to actually look at running it. Is that correct?
I believe so, if it comes on the open market, yes.
Yes. So it would keep that particular pub in town, but it would also enable local people to be involved in the running of it and decision making of it if it becomes.
It'd be up to the people that pitch for the purchase of it,
Yes.
how it would be run.
But if it becomes a community asset, there is more likelihood of people being able to do that rather than go.
I would imagine so, but I can't say for sure.
Right.
I think gives you 6 months space before anyone.
It gives you 6 months to fundraise for the purchase. It gives you time to breathe and get the money. How any group who bought it thereafter wants to run it as a library or a pub or you know a historic monument, it's entirely up to them.
Yes, as supporting its registration doesn't give us any liability at the moment, other than possibly people might ask to come for funding at a later date. Of course, that's a separate matter.
Yeah.
This is more about making a statement that the residents that we'd like to help protect. Something very important to them.
I support the nomination on its own merits, but also I think it could set in motion other areas in the town that might also benefit from the same thing. And once we've done it, it could, what is in the future.
Any other questions or comments? Just as a, just before that, I mentioned it on Saturday and I haven't actually mentioned it this evening. I am a member of Cameron.
I don't think that stops you.
No, it's I'm going to declare interest because it's them that's sponsoring this.
Anybody else remember camera?
No, so, just, is that the community group that want to have this as an asset, a community asset camera? Solway,
No.
Solway branch. So, then it says, just neighbourhoods or community interest. I'm a bit confused as to what the community is that wants this as an asset. Sorry, I'm looking at page 143. There's quite a few blanked out bits, but camera Solway branch is there.
Yeah. You're right, it's camera
Community
Solway branch.
interest company neighbourhood. I'm just not clear. I've not come across the community asset really before.
No, it does appear to be camera, it does appear to be the Solway branch that's applied for it. So right to bid.
They've applied for it to be a community asset.
It appears to be the case on this.
They have.
So much of it is redacted, but I believe that's the case.
Okay.
Chair, surely the council declares it a community asset if some group comes along and says, or asks it to be a community asset. If some group comes along and wants to buy it and use it as an asset of the community, that's the next step.
Westbourne and Furness Council have been approached by Camera Solway branch to declare it an asset of community value. So then if the owners of the property wish to sell it on the open market,
Yes.
as you said earlier, the community have a right to bid for it for 6 months. If no bids are accepted in that 6 month window, it goes into the open market like any other property.
Our group other than camera could bid for it.
I believe so, yes.
And that was the point I was trying to make.
So the letter was seeking our opinion, so basically we're asking for an overall opinion, which I guess would be whether we support it or not. So,
Just to be clear, I am supporting it being declared a thing, I'm not supporting camera taking it over particularly.
So it's just about supporting it as an asset, being nominated as an asset of
Yes.
community value.
Yes, that's what I was trying to clarify, Chair.
so with that clarification, are members happy to vote in that way that we support it? All those in favour?
Thank you.
Okay, and that brings us to item 20, which is the planning application that was mentioned by other people at the start. Members are asked to consider planning applications number 23/0218 and planning application 23/0250.
Mr Chair, we'll do one at a time as we may.
Yeah.
Anybody who is not participating in the discussion, just push your chair back to the table. And Councillor Thompson is going to speak as a member of the public before it's seconded and go into debate.
In the application, Media Proteins described itself as a highly specialised industrial complex west of Penrith. It failed to say its background in relation to national park, continued developing on previous agricultural land, and was within walking and smelling distance of residential habitat. Over recent months, there has been an increase in lorry movements in and out of the Omega plant as the company wins new rendering business. More contracts mean more animal-based products from slaughterhouses and abattoirs across the UK and including Ireland being transported by public road to this Penrith site. Within the past 2 weeks, there have been 3 reported offal spills on Oswater Road, Penrith West, leading on to Greystoke Road and Omega. Animal byproducts are required by law, and Omega's transport to be carried in leak-proof containers. Clearly, this has not been happening. The containers leak, and the leakages smell as well as creating other hazards. This application is merely to allow Omega to create a one-way system through its own site to allow more lorries to make life easier for them with no benefit to the community. There are no extra jobs. There is concern about wagons coming out of the site empty and their cleanliness, odor, etc. There is no evidence their wagons are cleaned as they have said before. Let me correct me if I have that wrong. The lorries, not all garage and trailer shed, again, as the company has previously said, again, let me correct me. I believe this application is merely about allowing more lorries in and out of the site via an already over-congested public highway system, junction 40 and Oswater Road. The public road infrastructure is not in place for more illegal wagons, their spillages and their smell.
I just make that clear that Councillor Thompson said that as a member of the public and has said that he will not comment or vote on the matter. Thank you, Councillor Thompson.
So members need to look at the Amiga applications which have come to you because they needed to respond before we have planning committee. You've got to assess them on local plan policies and the national planning policy framework, and you've got to look at the issues that are in front of you. The local plan policies that apply are LS1 for new development, the majority of which is within the main town of Penrith, which is true. Development plan, or DEV1, local plan policy states that there should be a positive approach of presumption in favour of sustainable new development and working with applicants to find solutions that mean applications can be approved wherever possible, e.g. by condition. But permission will be granted unless material considerations indicate otherwise, or whether any adverse impacts of granting permission will significantly and demonstrably outweigh the benefits when assessed against the national planning policy framework. The MV1 is about new development. It says that new development will be required to avoid any net loss of biodiversity and geodiversity. The site that they put in this planning application for is already hard standing behind a shed. However, it may need to comply with new nutrient neutrality regulations. That's something that the principal authority, the local planning authority, will consider. The MV5 state is about environmentally sustainable design. Proposals for commercial development should demonstrate that they've considered a number of sustainable issues as part of development. The MV6 is about renewable energy, stating renewable energy schemes will be supported where they meet criteria set out. EMV7 is about air pollution, and all major developments will be required to assess the likely impacts on air quality. Those local plan policies will apply to both of these applications that you're going to consider today. Planning application 230218 is for the formation of a roadway. There's already a roadway there to provide a whole route for traffic working on development. It was approved under planning application 160357. This is to allow the continuation of that, but to change it so that lorries or wagons, HGVs, will come into the site in one direction to access the trailer park, which is outside, and the washing areas, and then exit the site via that roadway. It's permeable, it's formed of crushed stone aggregates as normal on these sorts of sites. The smaller haul roadway was created as part of ongoing works, and the application states that it enables a one-way system to improve safety on the site. The requirement through the planning condition for HGVs was to travel to and from the east on Greystoke Road, which they do, and traffic movements are shown within the documentation that you had access through that link. The Highways Authority and the Environment Agency are both consultees and will respond separately on issues that affect them.
Any comments, questions?
No, I mean discussion. Please. It's okay.
So you're only looking at the first application.
I looked at this, you say it's permeability of the road, it's not a park, it's not a concrete road,
No,
I couldn't see
so
that.
it's already there. A lot of the track is already there, and it's It's a permeable track formed of crushed stone aggregate.
No, I knew the whole, the ones there at the moment, but I didn't see anything in there that said permanent roof. That obviously missed it.
Yeah, that's it, that's within the
I
documentation.
assume, if it's wrong, they would be concrete over that whole road to make it a permanent road. That's one of my comments. I feel that this is purely a matter of highways and environmental policy. The two people who can do anything about it, I don't believe we have the authority much to say, unfortunately, about traffic.
Echoing what Councillor Shepherd said, in such circumstances we can return the response of no response, and we don't feel ourselves competent to respond on highways or environment agency matters. So I would propose that we respond with no response.
Do we know if there's been a response from highways or what?
Not yet.
There's been nothing from them, so there's no guidance.
No, there's another, I think in fact there's another week or so for consultation to run, so they may send their response after you've seen it today.
But we have to send a response.
Sorry.
Tomorrow.
I didn't feel that there was particularly much objective on this one. In fact, I kind of thought, trying to look at it from all sides, that if the washing area was more accessible, that actually might be a good thing that we should take on board. But I also think that Councillor Jackson's comment about making no response.
Yeah, I disagree that no response is pass that out to the environment agencies. That's the wrong way to do it. I think we should advise the environment agency and the highways authority that we'd like them to look at two issues. One is drainage, and the second issue is increased traffic density. Just right and say, guys, please have a look at these two things because these are important to attention. I'm sure we have inroads to both those agencies.
You would put our response to Westmoreland Village Council, those terms.
Oh, okay, and that would be right.
That would be a good conclusion.
Any other comments?
Members happy with that?
Would you read it back?
That we send back a response saying that we have no comments on the overall thing, but we advise that the Western Furnace ensure that the Environment Agency and Highways look at drainage, pollutants and increased traffic density as brought to our attention.
I consent that to be my proposal.
That's all right. Suppose that nobody secondly doesn't know.
Scott's just indicated he's happy for that to be included. Yeah.
Captain Thompson wants to make a statement as a member of the public.
Right, that first one was just a warm-up act. This application is to allow Omega Proteins to build an aerobic digestive system, hereafter referred to as an AD plant, at its Penrith site. This is on land backdropped by the Lake District National Park, which is in the proximity of residential Penrith West Castletown. The Omega Protein site is a registered industrial scale category 3 animal rendering plant, a waste burning oxidizer, which is not yet operational, and now an AD plant to produce biogas to feed into the national grid. So that's three separate functions, three separate permits, three separate different operations all together on this one small congested site. That's three major industrial plants, all carrying out different operations, all requiring different environment agency permits on an overcrowded site on the edge of Penrith. AD plants are not the great panacea or as environmentally friendly as they are made out to be. There is a strong case for AD plants not being built near residential areas. They include risk of toxic spills and odour emissions. Odour emissions are already a major issue in this area, and an AD plant will only add to the potential risk. Methane, hydrogen sulfide, and a range of other similar smelling compounds all being released into the atmosphere. AD plants are proven to work best in fields far away from people, with applications for biogas plants not normally granted near residential areas. Disappointingly, Eden District Council Planning Committee allowed this application to go forward without the need for an environmental impact assessment. That was a mistake. The first Eden District Council has made on the land. Not allowing local residents consultation before Amiga was allowed to submit this AD build application. You now have to decide if Penrith Town Council is going to approve the construction of 2 digester tanks, a processing and control building, a biogas storage tank, a biogas cleanup plant, a flare, and a new gas pipeline, propane tanks, heat exchangers, circulation tanks and pumps, all on the edge of the town. The core objection, however, is based on the fact that this is a new industry for that site. It is a permitted animal rendering plant. It is a questionably permitted waste burning oxidizer plant. Now, Amiga wants to make it a biogas plant feeding into the national grid. Too much, too near, with too much risk and too few safeguards against pollution, toxic spills, and other odour uses.
The information on the planning application was that it was for treating effluent so that biogas can be harvested to provide a source of low carbon renewable energy to be used back on site or put into the national gas grid, and it would replace a dissolved air flotation plant. The site is within the boundary of Amiga as a whole. If those on planning will get this. This is the whole site. The site in question is here. It's already existing hard standing behind the shed and behind the transport development at that end as well. MPPF 81 policy is to help create conditions businesses can invest, expand and adapt. 186 of the National Planning Policy is that development should sustain or contribute towards compliance with relevant limit values or national objectives for pollutants, taking into account the presence of air quality management areas and clean air zones, and that they can be conditioned. S15 is about conserving and enhancing the natural environment. Although this isn't in the national park and it is in with an existing development, it is highly visible from the Lake District National Park and World Heritage Site and the North Pennines AMMB. Again, the Environment Agency and Environmental Health and Highways will be asked to give comments on this application, and they will need permissions from the Environment Agency, I think.
Questions, comments, Councillor?
Yeah, thankfully, Councillor Snell's got it up on her laptop thing here, and I did look at the application before I came up. I have to say it would have been useful to have something on the big screen as also look at it, look at it. decide on some response now. Is that what we're here for now, to respond to this planning application from the town council? Right. So the anaerobic digestion facility, to me, it looks massive. I don't know. Councillor,
Councillor Thompson's not
Stand on
involved in
that?
this debate at the moment.
Sorry?
Councillor Thompson can't contribute to the debate.
Oh, right. Sorry, I didn't appreciate that. I brought this to council. But anyway, so to me it looks massive. I've seen these digesters on farms and etc. And if they're going to be more visible than what's already visible from the national park and the area around the national park, then there may be reservations around this. Whether it's the material
I
planning.
didn't say it was going to be more visible. I said the
Sorry.
site. I didn't say it was going to be more visible because I don't know that. They haven't provided a photo montage of how it will look within the site, which would have been helpful. But it is a site that is visible from the Lake District National Park and from the AONB.
So these aerobic digesters are going to be,
So
I would suggest, even more visible than
So
what's there
there's
now.
2 digester tanks which are 17 metres high, an 8 metre high control building in the centre of the site, and then a biogas storage tank with domed roof, which you'll, if you travel from Penrith towards Carlisle, there's one on the farm on the right, and that's 11
There's a lot on the
metres
ground,
high.
and then there's a dome on the top. Yeah, there is a bit of a demonstration here on this diagram that Councillor Snell's got. Everybody can see that? If it makes any difference to our response, but these are the sort of big digesters we're looking at.
Just, did you say 17 metres high?
Yes.
Well, I give credit where it's due for looking forward to new ideas. Although they're not really new ideas, I suppose. But when I was looking further at like the sustainable issues that are part of future thinking, the climate change, I think, is potentially more serious than is projected in some of the findings in the reports. And in terms of flooding or in terms of different leaks, what is actually potentially going to be. I was just quite concerned by thinking that although it seems very neat for these applications, there doesn't seem to be a lot of thought for further developments of it's very complicated. Everything seems quite straightforward in one sense, but I think I need to be a bit more reassured about what things go wrong.
A number of things. First, I don't like the look of the application. It'd be nice to have been an elevation of the plant showing the existing plant and the new development beside it, which might be 10 metres higher than it isn't. And secondly, the photo montages being produced, none of them have the new plant actually drawn on, which is normal practice in photo montage presentation. The chance of a toxic liquid leak is that there is a bunded area around it, which will take 1.2 times the volume. The tax rupture is a concrete wall around it, a so-called bunded area, which will protect any liquid getting out. Why don't it prevent the smell from that liquid getting out of it and stop the liquid coming into the thing, which is standard practice on a petrochemical plant, which is basically is. I have a question. Biogas is basically a good thing, in principle. I have a question about the flare vent. In the oil business, when we run a flare, we run the flame on 24/7, because if there's a pressure problem in the system and gas goes flying up the chimney, you have to make sure it catches fire. And the only way you don't do that by saying, oh, there's a leak, we'll turn on the igniter. So there's always a flame that's burning, if you've seen one, all over the place. They talk about a shielded flare. Does that mean the flame? This is very small volumes compared to what I've used, and it's very much lower pressure. So if that flare, I would expect to be shielded so that when it wasn't going off, which maybe once, twice a year, it wouldn't be visible. Otherwise, there's going to be a large flame over the thing, which seriously will affect the visual impact of the plant. Sorry,
Point of information, can another councillor who has recused themselves from the discussion speak as a member of the public?
We're in debate now, so I'm afraid you might miss your opportunity, sorry.
Any other questions or comments?
Yeah, okay. So, at the moment, I mean, as everybody knows, the Penrith pond, there is no reference at all to increased levels of logo in planning application. That's obviously a massive community concern. So I'd like to see that addressed. And I'd probably go one step further and say that you could link this application to resolution of the current issues. Because if they can't demonstrate that they can manage the pond as is, then it doesn't give me much faith that they can manage the pond and additional plants going forward. I also think from the application that I read, there was no assessment of the community, and the community actually feels about health issues for over young children, etc., etc. Now, I don't know where the Environment Agency's remit stops and starts on this, but I think it was certainly a crossover into the local community, which needs to be taken into account.
I didn't really want to bring the pond, I think personally could, but there was an older screening assessment, and he said it was free. Well, I didn't really believe that there was no evidence there, especially given like higher levels of climate activity, free from odour levels likely to cause problems. He did say that, but I didn't feel.
Well, it's the same at the moment. If you read the Apollo website for the current system, they're just putting in temporary commission as mental stop the existing. So what I'm saying is that you probably need to sit down with whomever and try and get some sort of on a holistic basis.
There's only so far we can go with the comments. What we can suggest that, based on the considerations that we're hearing around the table, is that you object and explain your objection, or you can just say you object. I think Councillor Jackson was back to me.
Yes, it's just what is the material planning consideration?
These are all material planning considerations.
Yeah.
Councillor Jackson, which I believe
Smells and fumes.
smells, fumes, physical infrastructure, and how it impacts on potential contaminated land, nature conservation and biodiversity. There's several that probably you can object if you wish to do so. So what I suspect we also need is some wording for an objection. Members who are minded to object, or members might want to support. So we need a proposal, members please to take this forward.
Who's a good words?
I don't necessarily need all the words, but I do need the reasons that you want to object on, so that I can put them.
Any of those material objections that fit it.
I think the flare needs to be brought into account definitely, because I don't think the way it's worded, it doesn't look like there's going to be a burning flare. But my experience of running this type of process is you have the flare lit the whole time.
We can I'm sure.
So, just for clarity, can I ask if any members support the application? Show of hands.
I'm not against the whole idea of a biogas plant, and again, I don't believe they've given us anything to say that is
not going to be obtrusive and unpleasant.
Right, but we're not talking about the idea, we're talking about this actual application. So it's either
Okay, fine, yes.
support it. So is there anybody who supports it? I'm assuming not from the lack of hands. So is it safe to say then that we all object to it? Show of hands?
To various degrees.
So in terms of wording of that response, are we happy to let Ross do that?
Can I clarify? I did to it because I can't see enough not to object to it.
Is that you have insufficient information
Yes,
then to
yes.
make an informed decision?
Yes, because I don't have a see what it looks like. There's no photomontage that shows the existing plant with the new plant beside it.
We can do that and talk about layout and density, which is what we've talked about, smells and fumes.
That could advise the Environment Agency and responses from there.
Councillor Jackson and Councillor Dodd was the same thing as
I
well.
just want to put, I would want to put less emphasis on, we don't have enough information to make an informed opinion if we are objecting. Because to object, we do have to have an informed opinion.
Understood.
Yeah,
Have
but-
insufficient information to comment. Broadly.
I just wondered if they, about unexpected climate emergencies could cause problems.
It's not enough one area. One of the things it isn't, there's one of the few things in his favour, it's not enough. I mean, yeah.
That would be an unexpected problem.
No,
Speak to the chair, please.
Sorry. Yeah, but that area to flood will be wanting the arc. I mean, it's a very, very non-flood area.
And previous applications that are close to the waterway haven't received objection.
Do you need clarification of the intent?
Yeah.
No, you didn't show hands, we can accept that.
Okay, so that's the end of tonight's business. Item 21 on the agenda is just to note that the next meeting is on the 17th of July at 6 p.m. Thank you all for your time, for your patience. We'll see you in the next meeting.
Congratulations on your new chain.
Apologies, everyone, I've got to run, it's been a shut.
Well done, beautifully done.